LiberalViewer presents.
So HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher last Friday, he had on this comedian, and I think he was former digital director for The Onion, and now has this other sort of like comedy news website, Baratunde Thurston. He argued with Bill Maher about this whole Islamist issue, whether there was something inherently wrong with Islam, and it ended up with a comment from conservative Dinesh D'Souza here.
I don't think Islam has any monopoly on darkness and nutbags and crazy rhetoric and violence.
Kind of they do.
No, they really don't have a monopoly.
Not a monopoly, but perspective is important.
Okay.
It's not a monopoly, but it's the Titanic hitting the iceberg compared to Whitney Houston dying in her bathtub.
So let's look at how long we've had people running around making excuses to hurt other people. And Islam is a part of that tradition, but so has Christianity been.
But slavery was defended strongly. If this was the 14th century, I would be coming down on the Christians because that's when they were too violent.
You wouldn't have television, so you couldn't.
Or the 18th,
okay, but that's the point, is that religions and cultures change. In the 14th century, it was the Christians, but this isn't the 14th century.
But this is an important distinction you're making, because there sometimes is a broad indictment of religion in general. But if you look today, you do see that while the vast majority of Muslims are by no means terrorists, it does seem that the vast majority of terrorist incidents do involve some aspect of the Muslim world. You don't see a whole lot of Buddhist suicide bombers. I'm still waiting for the Koreans to show up.
And also that they drove...
Now, what Dinesh D'Souza there said is totally untrue, and I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. And both in the United States and in Europe, Muslims account for a very small percentage of terrorist incidents. In Europe especially, I remember there was a report, it's mostly like separatists, like Basque separatists and a whole bunch of other groups. There is a few high-profile Muslim terrorist incidents in the last decade, but if you actually look at all the terrorist incidents, Muslims make up a small percentage of the responsibility for those incidents. So I want to know what you think. Why is there a common misconception that most terrorists are Muslim? And given the truth, is it fair to single out Islam over other religions for the radical views of its fringe believers?
YouTube, you decide.